Hello and welcome to another video for Minus Touch Toys, Games, Collectibles. And today, well, we're looking at something that's now quite old, has become incredibly collectible, and is becoming increasingly more difficult to find, especially in this mint unopened condition. Now we are looking at the 1997 release by Kenner from their Star Wars, the original movie series of 12-inch action figures. And this particular figure we're looking at today is of none other than Luke Skywalker himself, the young Jedi apprentice. And he is dressed in his ceremonial gear, which is what he wore at the end of the original Star Wars movie when he received his medal for helping to destroy the Empire's ultimate weapon, the Death Star. It's all based on the original Star Wars movie, which was called Star Wars, but then later retitled Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope. It was made in 1977 as an American space opera film. It was written and directed by George Lucas and produced by his production company, Lucasfilm Limited. And it was released by 20th Century Fox. Now, it was the first film in the Star Wars franchise and soon to become known as the fourth in the chronological chapter of the what is now known as the 9-part Skywalker saga. Now, it's set in the fictional galaxy under the rule of the tyrannical Galactic Empire, and the film follows a group of freedom fighters known as the Rebel Alliance who aim to destroy the Empire's ultimate weapon, which is the Death Star. Now, when the rebel leader, Princess Leia Organa, is captured by the Empire, Luke Skywalker acquires stolen archaeological plans for the Death Star, which was smuggled and hidden into the droids that he's just purchased. So he sets out to rescue her while learning the ways of the mysteriously known power of the Force. And then he is taught to him by the old Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. So all-star cast included Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker, Harrison Ford as Han Solo, Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia, Peter Cushing, who played Grand Moff Tarkin, Alec Guinness, who was the elderly Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anthony Daniels, who was C-3PO, Kenny Baker, who was R2-D2, Peter Mayhew, who played Chewbacca, David Prowse, who played Darth Vader, and James L. Jones, who voiced Darth Vader. Now, the movie was a massive, massive success. It premiered at the box office on May the 25th, 1977. It ran for about 2 hours, and the budget for the movie was $11 million, which was quite a lot of money back in 1977. And it grossed at the box office $775.4 million, which turned George Lucas into a multi-millionaire basically overnight. Now, this particular figure we're looking at today is based on that ceremonial section at the end of the movie, where Luke Skywalker, Han Solo and Chewbacca go up to the stairs and receive their medals of honor from the Princess Leia. Okay, so this is the box it comes in, and at the very top it says Ceremonial Model included. It says Star Wars, ages 4 and up, item 27907 from assortment number 27903. It's Star Wars Luke Skywalker in ceremonial gear. It says warning, choking hazard, small parts, not for children under 3 years. Okay, that's the front of the box. Let's just spin it around to the back and see what we've got printed on the back. Okay, so I'll turn the box around to the back, and this is what we've got on there. So it says Star Wars, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. The adventure continues with this exciting introduction of exclusive figures from the Star Wars trilogy. Authentically styled with incredible detail, each fully posable 12-inch figure features a realistic outfit, signature weapon and accessories. It says collect them all. So you've got Grand Moff Tarkin, and that's an image of Grand Moff Tarkin Aspel, played by Peter Cushing in the movie, Stormtrooper and Greedo. And at the bottom, you've got an image of the heroes who have collected their ceremonial medals presented to them by Princess Leia. Although you can't see the image very well because it's got all these bloody stickers stuck on the bottom. It says Luke Skywalker and Han Solo received their medals during a regal ceremony on Yavin 4. Copyright 1997, Lucasfilm, rights reserved, used under license and so on. So all copyright information is at the bottom there. Made in China. And you've got the Kenner logo. Product may and colours may vary. And you've got to visit the official Star Wars website at www.starwars.com and visit the Hasbro Toy and Game website at hasbro.com. So Luke Skywalker Ceremonial Gear, UPC proof of purchase, and you've got the barcode at the bottom there and all the relevant logos at the bottom. Okay, let's just turn the box to the side. And there we have that wonderful image of Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker, where he's standing after collecting his medal, ceremonial medal. It says Star Wars Action Collection, Luke Skywalker in ceremonial gear. You've got the Rebel Alliance logo there. It says fully poseable figure, authentically styled outfit and accessories. And if I just turn the box around to the other side, yep, we got exactly the same again. So again, it says Star Wars Action Collection, Luke Skywalker in ceremonial gear, Rebel Alliance logo, fully poseable figure, authentically styled outfit and accessories. Okay, that's the box. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to open the box. I'm going to remove the figure. I don't think we're going to be able to remove him from the back of the card, but we're going to remove the figure from the box and we're going to have a good look at him outside of the box. Okay, so I did manage to remove Luke from the box. It was a lot easier than I thought, actually. I thought it was going to be taped in, but although there was a little bit of tape holding him in, it wasn't too difficult to remove it. And I've also taken out his lightsaber and his blaster, which his blaster's in his holster and his lightsaber is in his hand. The only thing I couldn't remove was his Medal of Honor, because that is held in by some thread that you need to snap to take off. So I haven't removed the ceremonial medal, but we'll have a look at that in a moment. But first of all, let's have a look at Luke. Now, he does actually hold the lightsaber okay. I mean, it's not the greatest. I suppose if you held his arm up in the air, he still manages to hold it okay. I mean, it's not, his hand's not the greatest gripping to hold the lightsaber. It does, I suppose you've got to balance it in his hand, but it does come out quite easily. Let's try him on the other hand and see if it's any better in this hand. Not really. No, so the gripping, that's one of the things that lets down the figure, is the way the hand holds the lightsaber. I suppose if you had it like that, it's fine. It balances okay. Incidentally, the lightsaber comes in two halves, so you get the hilt and also the blade, and the blade just pushes into the hilt there, so you can have him holding the blade or have him just holding the hilt without the blade. So either or, whichever way you want. Okay, that's the lightsaber, and also his blaster, which I put in his holster. The same thing applies with the blaster. You need to have his hand in the right position, really, to hold the blaster. It doesn't hold as well as you can see, it just leans to one side, so it's not the greatest of hands to hold the blaster. Let's try it in the other hand, see if that's any better. Yeah, it really doesn't hold the blaster very well, unfortunately. That's about as well as you're going to get it, I'm afraid. The hands just are not good enough to hold these pieces. If there was a finger that came out so that you could hook the finger into the trigger bit, that would be better. But otherwise, his hand really doesn't hold the blaster very well. So the blaster's just better off just sitting inside his holster. Okay, figure-wise, let's just get some measurements of the figure. So 12 inches is what it advertised it as, and it's a fraction under 12 inches. It's about 11.5 inches or 29 centimeters. If you measure across his hand, which is his widest point, we're looking at about 15 centimeters, and depth-wise, probably across his chest, which is about 7 centimeters, about 6 across his feet. Articulation-wise, well, I mean, it's not bad articulation, really. So you've got the head, which moves side to side. The waist moves from side to side. The arms up and down, the elbows move, and the wrists. So you've got 3 points of articulation on each arm. The tops of the legs move, and they move in and out. So they're on ball joints. The knees do not move. And the feet do move from side to side. So you got up, side, and the feet, which you can turn. So it's a shame that the knee joints don't actually move, but there we are. You can't have it all. So, but we got, because you've got the 2 points of movement on the leg, you can pretty much position him any way you want. And obviously, because the feet move, again, you've got great articulation there. So there he is, dressed in his ceremonial gear. And then let's have a zoom in and look at that facial features. How well does that compare to Mark Hamill? Well, I mean, you can tell it's Mark Hamill, no doubt about that. I mean, it's the hair is about right, although probably not just the right colour. The eyes are about right. The face, yeah, I suppose it's not a bad likeness, really, considering. Bearing in mind, this is nearly 30 years old, this figure. So technology has moved on tremendously since then. So it's not, the technology wasn't quite there 30 years ago when they made these figures, but even so, really, really good figure. I think the likeness is not bad for the time. So as I say, you can tell it is Mark Hamill. The sculpting is not bad. It's just not 100% accurate. So, oh, it's the new figures these days. The facial features are just absolutely spot on. But this particular one, let's say from 30 years ago, almost 30 years ago, is not quite there. But it's still a good likeness of Mark Hamill. And he is dressed in that lovely ceremonial gear. So he's got the jacket, which is removable. And underneath there, he's got his black shirt on. And you can see he's got his buckle there. And he's got his belt with the holster. And, of course, the holster build does up around his leg as well. And he's in his brown trousers with that stripe on the side as he wore in the presentation section. And then he's obviously in his big boots. Again, which he wore in that scene at the end where he collected his medal. The lightsaber, I think, is a little bit large. The blade is a little bit long. They don't really come that long in comparison in the movie, but overall, with the hilt on it, we're looking at 25. No, we're not. We're looking at 21.5 centimeters in length. So if we take the blade out and just measure the blade on its own, we're at 17.5 centimeters, which is quite long in comparison. Well, that's half of Luke Skywalker's size, and they wasn't really that big in the movie. The hilt is 5.5 centimeters, as you can see there. Let's just turn it around and have a look at his back. So, yep, there he is again. You can see in his jacket again, as I say, the jacket is removable. And if I just lift it up, you can see the belt is done up at the back there. That's where his trousers are being done up at the back as well. And that's the back of the holster around his leg there. And there he is in his brown trousers and his boots. So he stands quite well, unaided, as you can see. So overall, not a bad figure, I would say. I quite like these figures. I thought they were well designed. There was good maneuverability on the figures, and they displayed very, very well. Okay, I just want to have a very quick look at the ceremonial medal. Okay, so I've zoomed in on the ceremonial medal. Let's see if we can get in a little bit closer and see that medal. But that's the medal that is presented to Luke Skywalker at the end of the episode. As you can see, it's still strapped into the packet with the tape, with the cotton, I should say. You can just see that here. I blurred the screen by putting my finger there, but there we are. And that's the strap that goes around his neck. So that is the ceremonial medal. It's not particularly big. It's about a centimetre and a half in diameter, really. About a centimetre in diameter, the round section. And then it's about another half a centimetre if you add on the top bar. And the length of the strap is about 6 centimetres. So that gives you an idea of the size. So that does dangle around his neck quite nicely. Okay, so how well did Luke Skywalker do back in 1997 when these were released? Well, I mean, they did release quite a lot of these figures, I have to add. The 12-inch figures from the Kenner collection in 97, they done quite a lot, and there was big quantities released, so there was a lot of them around at some point in the late 90s. Obviously they were released to tie in with the return of the 3 films to the big screen for the first time since their original release, and it was merchandise that, well, I mean, back in the original release they did do a few of the 12-inch figures. There was Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Princess Leia, Stormtrooper, and they were released by Kenner / Dennis Fisher. But I don't think they'd done particularly well in their original run. However, the release in 97, they were obviously a lot updated, a lot more, better articulation, better accessories, and much more detailed figures. So they did do a lot better. Although I think the 12-inch figures really are more for collectors than for children. The smaller figures are better suited to the children because they fit in the hands better, they play with them better, and of course you had all of the play sets and the vehicles and accessories to go with the 4-inch figures. Whereas with the 12-inch figures, there was no other accessories or anything. They were literally just figures. So I think they were more suited for adults to display rather than for children to play with. But it all depended on your preference, really. I think if parents going in to buy toys for their kids would have also opted for the smaller ones rather than the larger ones. And I think that may be the reason why these figures were on the shelf for quite a long time. During the release of the original Star Wars. But don't get me wrong, I mean, there's still releasing 12-inch figures nowadays from the original trilogy, so I mean, they're still selling very well, but I do think they're all geared for collectors nowadays rather than for children. So yes, they would have done rather well. I think it took them a lot longer to sell the quantities that were produced than what was anticipated, but even so, they did all sell and have become very collectible now. So we're moving forward now, almost 30 years, or 28 years to be precise. We're going forward to 2025, which is where we are today. Do these figures come up for sale very often on the platforms? Well, they still come up for sale on the platforms in various different states of condition. You do see quite a lot of loose figures that have been displayed or played with over the period. Most of the loose ones are usually missing accessories. They don't include the blaster or the lightsaber, or he's missing his jacket, or doesn't come with a Medal of Honor. So there's all sorts of different things, but it depends what you want from your figure that you're looking for. So if you just want a cheap figure to put in a display and you don't care whether it's complete or not, then loose figures are probably the way to go. For me, it's all about condition and mintness and completeness. So I always opt to buy the complete figures for my display. So new ones are by far the ones that I will always buy for my display. And you can get the new ones on the platform if you look hard enough. They don't come up for sale as often as they used to. 10 years ago, you could find them all over the internet. Nowadays, not so often. And if you're looking for a particular figure, you may find you've got to wait a while before you find it. And that's because they're becoming, obviously, in the mint condition, they're becoming harder and harder to find. So if you want a used one that's missing accessories or damaged or used or worn or what have you, you can pick those up relatively easily. But finding them like this now in the mint condition, unremoved from the packaging, well, it wasn't until I removed it, but they are becoming pretty hard to find. However, we at Midas Touch have done it again. We have managed to find quite a few of these 12-inch figures, which were former shop stock. Now, I'm not sure if they were displayed figures or whether they were just stock that didn't sell, but they were in part of a shop buyout, which we bought a few years ago after the shop closed down. And they were in the stockroom, part of a load of old stock that was in the stockroom that had either been used for display purposes or had never been sold. And there was probably about 10 or 12 different 12-inch figures from this particular range that we got with that buyout, and we are offering those figures to our customers on the Midas Touch website, which you can get to very simply by clicking the link below. It will take you straight to the website, or you'll be able to find this and many other vintage Star Wars items, and many other vintage toys, games and collectibles come to that. There's over 10,000 products currently available on the website for you to view and purchase at your leisure. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because we're uploading videos for every new item that goes into the website. There will be something for everybody, and I'm absolutely positive this is something that you're not going to want to miss, because we literally have thousands and thousands of new items which we're shooting videos for and uploading on a daily basis. So if there is something in particular you're looking for, something old you'd never been able to find, something quirky that you might want to buy for a friend, or perhaps just something from your childhood that you'd like to own again to help you recuperate those long lost childhood memories, well, stay tuned, keep watching, because you never know the next item we upload could be that item you've been looking for. Okay, that is it for me on this particular item. I do hope you've enjoyed reviewing this wonderful vintage Luke Skywalker 12-inch action figure with me. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next video. So bye for now.